Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dark Souls 2. Today taking on the Dragon Aerie right here. And we of course already reached this area last time after finally getting through the Aldea's Keep and killing like a guardian dragon and all kinds of stuff inside of that keep and just being weirded out by how miserable that place is. And today we are entering what is probably the most visually stunning area of Dark Souls 2 right here. Once again, can only stress how amazing the art design is right here, but also once again will have to stress how unfortunate it is then that length isn't really quite where I want it to be, and it's just not a big area. Once again, that's always a problem in Dark Souls 2, and I hate to always bring this up in like every episode that I upload, but I don't know. See, they already put all this time into creating an amazing concept here, right? The Dragon Aerie, probably the best looking area of the game, as I was already saying. But then why not take the like a few extra steps and make this also like worth remembering, not only looking at the art design, but also very much looking at the length and the time you spent there. Just allow me to appreciate it even more than I'm already appreciating it just by looking at the art design of it. So yeah, that's once again of course a downside here, but then again, nothing I can very much change about that. So let's now just focus on the fact that we're fighting a guardian dragon right here. And also, as you might be able to tell already, I don't know if that's really all that apparent, but I'm once again doing a post commentary for basically the same reason as always. Previous commentary was just shit, and I didn't feel like doing that. Also, in this episode, I can already spoil, I will die quite a bit, so it's probably just good that I'm now able to cut out all the load times and do some fast forwarding later on and stuff like that, so hopefully everybody is totally a-okay with that. But let's talk a little bit Dragon Aerie. What is this area? What are you going to be facing? What's basically Dragon Aerie all about? So in the Dragon Aerie you will be fighting, I think, a total of 3 guardian dragons. So basically the boss fight, or the monster that you've had in that last boss fight that we did, reappears 3 times in this, only that it's not really all that special anymore. He doesn't like jump up and stick to a wall or anything like that, and if you just stand below them, which is basically the, I don't know, like recommended strategy, and also the mostly found strategy. I mean, everybody is probably just gonna run underneath the dragon. So if you do that, he's never gonna breathe fire. He might try to stomp you, might try to use his tail to whip you a little bit, but for the most part, not really hard thing to do. So probably just a very easy thing to take care of. Admittedly, the first time around, like when I first went through this area, I was scared out of my mind, didn't fight the dudes at all, and that is probably the worst decision you can make at that point, because then you are just getting far away from them, they're gonna breathe their fire, and you're gonna get burned horribly. So probably just want to kill them. It's really pretty easy. And then the second thing to this area is the incredibly high amount of crystal lizards. There's like, I don't know, I couldn't really give you a precise number, but I would just throw like 15 out there. There's like really just a crap ton of crystal lizards in this area. And also then the third enemy, the one that we're fighting right here, another one of those, I fall over, I explode, but this time around I also do corrosive like armor breaking damage to you as well. So basically those 3 things are what you're going to be fighting in the Dragon Aerie. Yeah, and I don't know, it's pretty cool that you have yet again an area where you are mostly fighting bosses, right? It really feels cool to be going here and having to once again deal with the dragons. I really just kind of wish that they would have been more of a focus in this area. Like, for the most part, you don't have to fight them. You can run by all of them, and that's okay. I mean, I see where they're going with this, but then again, all the other stuff in this area is already not that special anyway. Visually the best, but gameplay wise, in my opinion at least. Please let me know how you feel about the Dragon Aerie. What we are going to do right here is basically, it's not even the last one. I was always going to say that we are now approaching the last of the dragons that you're going to be finding here, but there's totally 2 more. So there's one sleeping right on this open area, and we can very much approach him now and then whip him a bit even before he gets up, which is kind of cool. So doing all of this though, once again to get back to the crystal lizards, will basically aggro all of them. Or I mean, in the case of the crystal lizards, you're not really aggroing them, you're like chasing them away, making them run from you. And that is a downside, because of course, first time around, probably want to kill the dragons, can't really pick up the crystal lizards in that same run though. So later on, I would recommend looping back around and then going for the crystal lizards on your second run through the Dragon Aerie. So there will later on be a shortcut, and that makes all of that pretty easy for you. So just focus on the damn dragons for now, and then do the rest later. So I don't know, that's basically this section in a nutshell, right? Just do the same strategy to the dragons, get the crystal lizards if you want to. I mean, then again, the upgrade materials aren't really all that important, I find. And also later on there will be a few points that I probably should point out where you can like drop off a zip line and grab extra items and stuff like that. So just a good area for finding items, essentially. Like including the crystal lizards, you're gonna be finding a crap ton of upgrading material, and also like the occasional weapon and stuff like that. But I don't know. That's basically all there's to it. I should note, totally forgot about this last time, but I'm now just really thinking about it randomly. In Aldia's Keep, which is of course what we did in that last episode, I missed out on kind of three things, I guess I would have to say, that I wanted to point out right here just to inform you guys about it. Number one, there's actually another mimic outside of Aldia's Keep, so very much where that first bonfire is at, in front of Aldia's Keep, which apparently contains, or like, it's a mimic and he drops, he doesn't really, I guess he contains it to some extent, but he drops a item, I believe. It's some kind of staff, or something at least very similar to a staff. So there's that. Then also the secret bonfire, I found out where it is now. It's, as you might remember, there's a staircase leading down to that acid meat dog housing room, right? Where you go through that lab section and then just go down the staircase. There is a invisible wall on like the midsection of that, and that will allow you to then find another bonfire and just make your life a lot easier. And then the last thing, and probably the most important thing as well, and kind of makes me sad that I almost forgot about it too, but luckily no such thing was the case here. There is, of course, that whole sorcerer that we talked about, right? The Navlan. It's totally his name. It's Navlan. I wasn't being stupid about it and trying to rhyme with what is probably my favorite NPC of the game. But Navlan is beyond that fog gate, and the way you actually access this whole side quest story bit, mission, objective kind of thing. Why am I throwing out so many words right here? But you have to be hollow, right? You can't talk to him while you're human. He will not really interact with you whatsoever. You have to be hollow, then talk to him, then he will give you all those quests. And it's actually probably something I'm gonna do still in this playthrough. I mean, of course it's not happening in this episode, maybe not even the next one, but pretty soon, once we get to like taking care of all the side stuff that we missed so far. So for example, Smelter Demon and the Undead Purgatory, all the things that we haven't done yet. Once we get to those, I'm probably also then going to include that whole quest line right there. So anybody that's interested in that will be able to see what that is all about. Anyway, what else? There was something else that I wanted to certainly tell you, but I don't quite remember. As we're fighting the last guardian dragon right here. Oh, I totally do remember now. So there's a little gimmick, another little gimmick connected to this whole area, because later on you will be finding a bridge, and this bridge you can only cross if you have fulfilled one condition. The condition being not breaking too many eggs. You might have seen all these eggs laying around in this area already, and if you break too many of them, what will actually happen is a dragon will come. Then again, I don't think even that they're considered dragons. Like all the guys flying around here, I don't think they're supposed to be dragons. They're like the WYRM thing that I can't pronounce. Is it worm? Because it fucking in my head sounds like that. Like that would make the most sense to me, but I couldn't tell you. It's just the weirdest spelling that I've ever seen in my life. But still, one of those dudes, once crossing that bridge, will just come, destroy it, you will fall down, and of course falling is not really the best thing that you could be doing at that point. So do not break too many eggs, or what I'm doing right here, break all the fucking eggs, and then make sure to rest at the bonfire before you cross that bridge. So the bridge that I'm actually talking about is the one right in front of us right here, leading over to the Dragon Shrine, which is also an area we're still doing in this episode. So before you do that, there will be a zip line leading back to the beginning. You can then drop down a ladder, open up a shortcut that way, and then of course rest at the bonfire and only then go back using another zip line. So also, what I should note, somewhere around here, I believe it's the zip line leading back to where we just came from, there will be a chance for you to drop off of that zip line, like mid-air or whatever you want to call that. You can just let go of it, fall down, and just land on this weird small little platform that seems like it would really just contain something precious and, I don't know, important, I guess. No such thing. I believe it's only like a soul. And souls you can really just skip. I don't know. For the most part, you're not going to be needing those souls. Those like soul of the lost. I don't give a fuck. There's going to be one of those, I believe, on one of those ledges. So, not really important. Oh, and I totally forgot about the fact that I still did this. I went back to check whether the eggs respawn once you rest at a bonfire, because I wasn't 100% sure about it. Totally do. So resting at a bonfire will very easily take care of all of that stuff. And yeah, as you can see, the eggs are back. So that is then going to essentially conclude Dragon's Aerie. That is all there's to it. A bunch of zip lines, a bunch of bridges, some exploded dudes, some crystal lizards, which drop a lot of titanite and other upgrading material for you. And then, of course, the dragons that are making a return. And yeah, then the whole bridge leading back, or not even back, but to the next area, the Dragon Shrine. In my opinion, they could have just made it one thing, right? I mean, in the end, there's not really too much setting them apart. I mean, of course, architecturally, they're pretty different. But they also could have just, in my opinion at least, and this is me very much nitpicking, by the way, could have reduced it to one area containing two different bonfires instead of making two areas with one bonfire each. But as I was saying, just nitpicking. Also, right here is where you could drop down, by the way. But anyway, having restored those eggs, having rested at a bonfire, we can now safely cross the bridge. And this is already probably a moment that a lot of you are going to remember from like the preview material for Dark Souls 2. This was certainly something they showed off in like the very beginning when it was first announced. And still, this is just one of the, I don't know, at least in my opinion, most impressive, most awesome moments in the game, because it really just aesthetically shows you, right? It really proves to you, underlines, to just list more words like I just tend to do for whatever stupid reason, that you're making progress, that you are getting somewhere, that you've done a lot of stuff. I really like how they are able to visually underline that, because this feels really important what you're doing here, doesn't it? Feels like this like end game scenario, and essentially is too. There's not many episodes left after this, which somewhat saddens me, but hopefully I'm going to be able to just draw it out a little bit more by doing all the side stuff. So as I was mentioning earlier, the quest line from that we're going to get from Navland, and of course the Smelter Demon, stuff like that, we are still very much able to do. So not going to be a lot of episodes, but still a decent amount of episodes, I would imagine. Then again, yeah, I haven't really like planned it out too much in my head just yet. I don't know how long all of those things are gonna take. But let's now talk a little bit about the Dragon Shrine and what's happening right here. We're facing a new enemy type. I believe they're called the... we're gonna run into that name a little bit later by picking up their items and stuff like that. But they're like the Drake... Is it Drake Keeper? It might be Drake Keeper. I couldn't completely swear on it right now, but in my head it sounds pretty correct, at least right now. Let's just call them Drake Keeper. Drake Keeper guys, they're pretty similar to the ones that you're going to be fighting in the Tower of Flame, so like Knight dudes. As you can see, there's also one having like a mace club kind of thing, and then there's ones using shield and sword combos, and there's, I believe, one additional enemy type that has like a tower or like great shield at the very least, and also like a big axe or another weird kind of hammer. I don't quite remember. Biggest pains in the ass though, probably these guys, because they have what is probably the longest combo in the entire game. They have like a 7-hit combo, which is just super nuts. Once like that depletes your stamina somewhere in the middle there, chances are you're gonna die because they have like 4 more hits to go. So with them you want to be careful, and basically with everything right here you want to be careful. It's pretty easy to die, I find, and I will of course also illustrate that a little bit more later on. But yeah, it's easy to die because these guys, they deal a lot of damage, and if you don't block correctly or if you don't dodge it, you're gonna have a pretty hard time avoiding a lot of damage. And the worst part about all of this is that whole light thing that you just might have seen, the whole lightning ball that a sorcerer is actually shooting at you. He's located in a tower not too far from here, and we're going to take care of it in a second. But it just has a knockback. It also, I believe, deals a lot of damage as well if it hits you. And very sad moment for me right here. I was really pissed in that initial commentary track. I was like, God damn, how dare you break my chest? I don't know what's in that chest, by the way. But it always just makes me really angry because it's so unnecessary and also so permanent, right? You're not getting that chest back. So that sucks a great deal. And this is the sorcerer man that I was talking about. He's not too much of a sorcerer, admittedly. More of a cleric, I guess, is what you'd call that. But whatever. There's another jump you can make. We'll lead you to a chest that I believe contains like a shield and maybe also something else in there. And then there's a bunch of more really interesting things that we're going to be taking care of before we then properly finish this area. It's a really cool one. I would say it's once again really short, which of course is usually just very unfortunate, isn't it? It saddens me. But in this area, I feel like they did a great job of just giving you cool little side things that feel really significant, that are just fun to explore. There's always these big guys that you can fight, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do that right now. It's not necessarily the case that you have to do it. You don't 100% have to kill them. You could also probably just sprint through, open a door, and then be in safe territory that way. But then again, you have to, of course, go through the door opening animation, so maybe it's much rather recommended to kill him. Yeah, I don't know. I think even going back after dying, I'm also still gonna kill them because I just feel a lot better about that. Yeah, I don't know. Probably just want to kill him. Let's just maybe put it that way right now. So having taken care of this guy pretty soon, of course, that is still one of the most harrowing things that we're doing here. As I was saying, combo is just completely batshit insane. This is probably the closest an enemy type in Dark Souls 2 gets to like completely freaking out on you. It's like they're just in their weird armor just shouting, just really screaming, and not giving a fuck about anything in their path. They're just going nuts on you, and I really dislike it. I think it's probably not the best designed enemy in the game because of that, because of the ridiculous combo, which at times I find unfair. It's okay with the shield that we got, but I believe in my first playthrough I actually had a hard time against these guys just because they are not gonna stop. They are relentless as all hell, and I don't know. As I was saying, maybe not the best and biggest fan of that. But alright, 2 chests up ahead. Keep in mind one of them is in fact a mimic, and I believe, yeah, it's totally the one closest to us right now. I'm gonna fire like 2 arrows in the ground and only then hit the guy and also poison him. Probably it was also the first time that I poisoned a mimic, so that was a pretty cool experience for me right here. And this is also, I should very much note, a section of the whole area that I've never done before. This was me doing it the first time, and that is going to be a downside to all of this in just a matter of seconds here. But luckily I figured out that that was a mimic. I just assumed that that was the case, judging by all the blood stains and the messages that the guys left. So just kill that guy, pick his stuff up, and then this one should not even be trapped or anything like that. Also contains a Titanite slab, which is really nice. Now, the last kind of these dudes, the one that I was teasing already a little bit earlier, great shield, and also this weird hammer thing that they have. And I was just, at this stage, this was the first time that I freaking saw the guys, right? That was the first time that I encountered them. I was really panicking, I didn't know where to go, I didn't feel great about anything right here whatsoever. So I retreated for a second there. But then of course I'm like, fuck, we're doing this right now. I'm excited about all of this. I'm excited about this being new. We're gonna freaking just kick his ass, move on. In the end, we haven't died too much yet in the playthrough, but yeah, whenever you get cocky like that, Dark Souls is really just gonna show you what it thinks about all of that, because then the following happens: 2-hit combo, and Nick unfortunately has to die for the first time in this episode, and that is also not gonna be the last time. I don't know if I should be just keeping all of that a secret to like kind of surprise you a little bit, but then again, whatever. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that I end up dying a little bit more in this. So I believe now I'm still gonna go ahead and show you all of my way back, because of course we still want to get to that guy. We have to now kill him. We're out for revenge. I'm not gonna flip and just take that and just live my life knowing that he took care of me there. I'm not gonna let that sit on me. We're now going out and destroying that fucker, and you know that. And also, maybe I should talk a little bit about the reason why we're doing that. The reason why we're now going down that optional path. There is an item for you to pick up very much later on. There's a bunch more enemies that you are gonna have to be fighting. But once you then get to the end of that, there will be an item that allows you to actually enter another covenant of the game. A last kind of secret hidden covenant, probably the most hidden one out of all of them. I mean, I guess you could argue that the Dark Lurker, Dark Stalker, Dark Diver, I really don't know what it's called, to be completely honest. But that covenant might also be a little bit more hidden than even the dragon, the one that we're pursuing right now. But once again, just probably very nice to show that off to you guys, because I would imagine that a few of you at least have missed that. Because I totally did the first time through. I never hopped down there. I never bothered with all of that. And then of course, once you have retrieved that item, that's not the end of it. There's still a bunch more that you have to do in order to then unlock that covenant. So this is now just me taking care of what is essentially step 1 of the whole procedure there. Which kind of reminds me, I did talk about extra things that I still wanted to do in like future episodes, right? There's another thing that now just crossed my mind that I still also want to do. Because that Dark Covenant that I was getting so confused about, that is also something I would like to show you guys. So, in case you don't know, what that is actually a mostly slash basically only yeah, like offline covenant. It's a covenant that you complete. Shit, I'm actually now watching this even being really like tense about everything right here, because that was close, and I believe that's exactly how I reacted in the initial recording. But anyway, let's get back to the point. So that is a covenant that you can do offline, like the entirety of it you can just complete offline. So if you want to, for example, get that trophy slash achievement saying max out your covenant, whatever, covenant rank, that is probably where you want to do that, just because you do not have to be online for any of that. And it's fairly easy, right? It's not the craziest in terms of difficulty, not by any stretch. So that is totally something we're also still going to do. Now, let's talk about this a little bit more. Once again, that was the first time that I did this, right? This was me checking this out, seeing this area for the very first time. So I was kind of scared out of my mind. I didn't know where he was. So you can probably tell that my camera work is pretty paranoid right now. I'm always trying to look ahead and see where stuff is. And this is already basically the end of all of this. Kind of reminds me of, what is it even? It's Old King Doran, isn't it? In Demon Souls. He kind of fights you in a very similar room like that. Like there's a carpet there, and it's just this one dude attacking you. I really like how it kind of is a throwback to that. I guess they're not 100% going for exactly that. Maybe they didn't even have that whole moment in mind, but just to me, the way everything is set up, it kind of feels like that whole fight. Of course, this is not by any stretch as difficult as that whole Old King Doran fight was, but still nice to just have this little tense moment right at the top here in front of what is going to be the item that I was talking about, the petrified egg, I believe, and it's actually right here in this shrine. Once again, a Lord Vessel moment for us to witness right here. Too big of an item. Just put that in the pocket and move on. One more chest, I believe. No, actually 2 more chests that we are going to pick up here. And then, of course, we are going to get to the final section of the Dragon Shrine, which is where shit's going to go down. It really is a frickin' annoying section, if I do say so myself. It's messed up. But, I mean, we haven't gotten there yet. It's still a minute or so away from you guys. So anyway, I was already saying earlier, how do you feel about the Dragon Shrine slash Dragon Area as well, I guess? I would like to hear some opinions on that, because, once again, visually, I find it to be frickin' amazing. I was, honestly, though, first time around, really disappointed by the Dragon Area, because that was an area they actually did hype up. One of the very few areas that they showed off a lot, that they really wanted you to get excited about. And then it is just that short. I guess I would feel very differently about it if they had, as I was saying earlier, just put both of those areas into one. Had just done, I don't know, Dragon, maybe just call it Dragon Shrine, or just call it Dragon Area, and then put both of these, both the shrine and the area, into one. Maybe then I would have felt differently about it, because of course then it would have been a long area. It's kind of stupid that I'm being that critical about it, but then it would have felt like a longer area, right? Probably you guys agree. I don't know. Just let me know how you feel about it. So now, here's the thing. this is like the final staircase of the Dragon Shrine, and the way I usually like to do it is run through. I then quickly reconsidered though. I was like, maybe I should give this a shot, and that's where all of this led. Because of course then I was like, no, we're not freaking doing this. We're not fighting a million enemies right here just to get up there. So me just not really knowing what to do there fucked me up a great deal, and also is now causing me to fast forward all of this, because of course we are going to have to go back and try all of that again. And from now on my strategy is going to be running through. It's what I did the first time around. It works really, really well. There is a little checkpoint there, I guess you could call it, where enemies are not gonna go over. They're once again gonna leash very much. So let's try all of this again. Also, of course, pick up the blood stain, retrieve all our souls, and then just run through. It's probably what I'd recommend here. Fighting them can be done. You can probably just stand down there and spam some lightning spears and stuff like that. But running through is what you want to be doing, and you want to do it quick, because if not, if you're not quick, this shit's gonna happen. And just look at this. There's like freaking 4 enemies surrounding you right here, which is to some extent my fault for running through and of course aggroing all of them at the same time. But it's just kind of, to me at least, designed that way. It seems like it was designed in a way that they want to kind of encourage running there, just dashing through. But whatever. There's plenty of ways you can deal with these guys, by the way. I was just poisoning them, like lightning spearing the guy, I believe, for a bit, and then just melee for the most part. Probably the shield guy still, the easiest strategy for them is going to totally be melee. And also picked up a neat thingy there. What's it even called? A weird hammer. It was so quick I didn't even get to read it. But doesn't really matter, because now what we're doing is running up here yet again. Of course, to just once again show that this is very much possible. You can't just slip by. You just have to be a little bit quick about things. And then all of this is gonna be over in a few seconds. Fairly easy, fairly exciting too. And then of course I'm not gonna miss out on this. They're not gonna proceed any further. You can just then yeah, wave at them. They're not gonna come attack you. Instead, you can take a look at the most intimidating thing in the entirety of Dark Souls 2, the Ancient Dragon, which is basically where you wanted to go all along right here. With this whole Aldea's Keep, Dragon Aerie, Dragon Shrine path, this is the ultimate goal. He's going to give you a nice little item that you can then use to, yeah, just get stuff that is going to allow you to finish the game. This is very much a thing that you have to do in order to make progress. So, very happy that now in the final version of this video, we got through the areas pretty quick, but then again, that's just because I was able to use all the fast forwarding and cutting and all that kind of stuff. So originally I think it would have been like 10 minutes longer this entire episode, so yeah, there's that. Anyway, he gave us the Ashen Mist Heart, I believe. That now means that we can do something pretty soon that I'm probably not going to spoil just yet. But then again, that is probably something we are going to do already in that next episode. So hopefully everybody's excited for that. Once again, another gesture I'm not going to freaking miss out on. I just really like this whole moment, how they are not going to pursue you any further. I'm like, I guess that's fine. Anyway, guys, that's going to take care of the Dragon Aerie and Dragon Shrine. I'm probably still going to teleport back to Majula. I believe that's what I'm about to do here. But then we are properly going to call it a day. So, not many episodes left, as I was already saying a little bit earlier. But let me know how you feel about all of this. Also, let me know if you want me to fight the Ancient Dragon, because that's something I've never done before. I don't know if that would be exciting at all, or just completely be, I don't know, terrible, because I'd probably die a lot, because supposedly he's pretty difficult. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about right now, you can totally fight that humongous ass dragon, and it's probably a bad idea, but we'll see about it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will end it right here, and yeah, I will see you next time with more of the late game of Dark Souls 2. So, yeah, have a good one, and see you then, guys. Goodbye.